designated by the president or whomever.
Happy shorts around here.
Alaki was assassinated, and he was associated with the wrong people, but he was never charged with anything. He was never given a trial. He didn't have an attorney, but he was a bad guy, and they were going to do it, and they killed him. So they said, well, a family member was also an accomplice, so they had to go get him. So a week later, they bombed and killed his son. His son was 16 years old, out in the backyard barbecuing. Now that is not American justice. That's America barking on something that is very, very dangerous. But the Congress hasn't been too much help lately, and the president certainly didn't resist this, but the Congress passed a bill, passed again on January 1st of this year, and that bill was the National Defense Authorization Act. Of course, what this does, it repeals posse comitatus, and it says explicitly that now the U.S. military, the Army, can arrest any American citizen, put in a prison, and denied an attorney, no charges made, no trial, in a secret prison indefinitely because you are a risk to the state. You know, I've been called dangerous at times, but dangerous to establishment.
We all are! We all
fighter, we are in a big trouble. You know, we have no But this has been going on. It's been undermined. But even before these last couple of years, even before 9/11, we've had an undermining of our personal liberties. Either it's the attitude of the executive branch, which has been going on for years, that administrations and agencies can write regulations. Where'd they get the right to write laws? Those are laws. They shouldn't even have this. And under administrative law, you're guilty until you prove yourself innocent, as well as, you know, with the IRS code. So this has been going on, you know, for a long, long time. And what we need to do is make sure that we have our representatives, our president, live within the law. The president can't write law. Why does he think that he can write laws? The other day, a couple weeks ago, he said, well, the Congress is acting too slowly, and I want this law on environmentalism. And he says, I'll just write an executive order. He's not allowed to do that. So the executive order has been grossly abused. But one thing is, a constitutional president could, when elected, look at all the laws that were passed by executive order and repeal executive laws. Yeah! One other area that has been very abusive to our civil liberties, and that has been the runaway war on drugs in this country. This is always an excuse to be able to bust into houses, no search warrants, make worse with the Patriot Act, and it boils down to, you know, what should the role of government be? Should the role of government be an instrument to protect us against ourselves and our own bad habits? That is what they have assumed. They so far, well, there are some more authoritarians that would like to get involved in some of the moral issues, but basically, it says that the government is going to control us and tell us what we do economically and personally. Generally speaking, they don't, you know, mess around with our religious and spiritual freedoms and our intellectual pursuits. But forever now, for 100 years, it's assumed that we allow the government to tell us what we can do with our own bodies, what we can smoke and drink and eat, and this will just lead to a total disaster. It is a total sacrifice of liberty. It's who owns your body and who owns our lives and who makes our decision. And let me tell you, there's one thing. I've met a lot of politicians. I've met a lot of bureaucrats in Washington. They are not smart enough to know what is best for you. This is what has happened excitement, we assume this to the point now today, everything is controlled. I find it rather amazing that we have been so complacent that they took it upon themselves in Washington for political and economic and special interest reasons to deny us a choice on how we can buy our own electric bulbs, electric light bulbs. I mean, why is it that we have, given up this? But what I sense in this country is a lot of people who are sick and tired of it, and they want to change that. Excitement is on the campuses, the current generation that's coming into the workforce. They know and understand this and enthusiastically support the cause of liberty, the limited government, sticking to the Constitution, looking into the Fed. This is where they get excited, but this is where I get excited as well, because it all blends in with the cause of liberty. Believing and being confident that if we want to improve our society, if we want to take care of the maximum number of people, what we want is more liberty, not this assumption that somebody else can take care of it. It doesn't work, and I think people are realizing. I think that's what's happening now in these last 5 years. They're realizing this financial crisis has hit, and there's no way we can sustain this spending and deficit. And they're also, the American people finally are coming around to being very tired of being bogged down in all these wars. That is why they're galvanizing and coming together, not only the young people, but the older people who have been sitting aside and hoping and